We started 2 founders, 1 warehouse person, and then now we hire a BD and e-commerce person. We can comfortably stay as it is for another 1 to 2 years, even when we enter retail space. When we enter FairPrice, can we afford to go into so many outlets? What's the cash flow looking like? I don't think 5 million is difficult to achieve.
Crystal is the co-founder of Little Toddler, a startup that's redefining healthy toddler meals for busy parents. And she shares how she's building a brand that speaks directly to modern moms.
We want to know a bit more about Little Toddler. So Crystal, maybe can you tell us what does Little Toddler do?
So Little Toddler does ready meals for children. I would say maybe once your kids start eating solid till all the way maybe 4 to 5. So we do ready to heat meals. So all you need to do is just choose whatever they want to eat, pop in the microwave or steamer, and mealtime is ready in 5 minutes.
So which would you recommend? Microwave or steamer?
Personally, I use microwave. I think there are a lot of myths around microwaves, but they are generally still safe.
Okay. My wife still wants to use steamer.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who don't have microwaves at home, and that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Now, maybe can you share with us how does a typical day look like for Crystal Cheng as a founder of Little Toddler?
So I work remotely, and we do a lot of clients meeting and elsewhere. So I'm quite all over the place. I am rarely in the office. So typically my day starts with sending my kid to school in the morning. I have 2 kids. One is 1 year and another one is turning 3 next month. So I'll send her to school, and then sometimes I'll make my way to the central kitchen if there's anything. Other than that, it'll be going back for calls. We have our weekly calls. Most of our team members work remotely. Personally, I believe on productivity and efficiency. It doesn't exactly matter where you work. It doesn't really matter where you work. Sometimes we meet our clients, then we go to client's office, or we do pop-ups and all this kind of stuff. So it really depends on the season where we do events and stuff. So it could be all over the place. Typical day would be meetings at home. It passes quite fast. Then meetings after meetings.
Let's now talk about Little Toddler. Okay, can you share with us, to date, what kind of traction has Little Toddler achieved?
We have, ever since we launched subscription, till date we have more than 300 subscribers, active subscribers. So it goes to show that the products that we offer in the market, or rather, we exist to solve an actual problem. Actual problem whereby mealtime is challenging, and as working moms, when we go back to work, we have little control and visibility on what the kids eat at home. So that's the traction that we have. We are also entering FairPrice Finest. We are in other platforms such as Redmart, Shopee. We just launched TikTok last month, and it's actually doing quite well. I think that entire live stream whereby we show people how the end product looks like, people trying in front of them for them to see and feel the texture, gives a lot of assurance. We also do a lot of pop-ups. So when we do pop-ups, very typical feedback that I hear from mums with younger kids, they are already on solid. They only give them porridge, even up to like 2 years old. They still mainly eat porridge because they are concerned whether can they chew certain textures, whether they get choked with noodles and all these kind of things. So we have done a fair bit.
What I want to ask you next is, what do you think convinced, I know you're in Songfish.
We're in Songfish.
And you're going to go into NTUC soon, right?
We're going
what do you
Finest
think,
only.
NTUC Finest, right? What do you think convinced them to partner you?
I think there's a very big assortment gap in the market. So when we spoke to FairPrice, they actually don't know where to place our products. Because generally mother and baby products in retail stores are ambient. They are all your pouch and your retort pouch, all ambient. So there is very little frozen option, at least in Singapore market. I think overseas there are. It's a very strong category whereby people are willing to spend on quality and clean food for their kids. So we see it as an opportunity whereby it's a whole new category that we are building. I wouldn't even say that we are limited to kids, because in terms of the ingredients that we use like your cold pressed sesame oil, we use your sodium light sauce and stuff. So they are generally clean ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah, clean ingredients, no preservatives. So adults, elderly people, they are in fact all quite suitable.
Okay. Okay. What worries you most as a founder? You've been doing this for about a year plus already.
About a year plus.
So what keeps you awake at night?
I think at the beginning it was always profitability, breaking even actually. At the beginning, but I think at this stage now we start hiring people, we see some traction. I think the next stage is always how do we grow? How do we grow the business to the next stage? I think 0 to 1 million is one level, 1 to 5 is another level, 5 to 10 is a whole new level. Yeah. So, and because we started as a bootstrap company with a very lean team, we cannot afford to make as much mistakes as we as any MNC would allow, because sometimes when we make one big mistake, we will probably never recover for it anymore. Yeah, so I think for now my biggest challenge is growth. Where am I placing my next bet, next calculated bet, and and how do we take the business further?
Okay, and how do you determine where to place your bet then? What are some of your thought process in doing that?
For me now, I think the very original foundation and vision is clean label,
Okay.
healthy food, and ultimately our role here is to make mealtime easy and stress-free for parents and caregivers. I think that's the primary vision. Yeah. So any product that we launch, anywhere we retail our product, I ask myself, are we doing parents a favor? Are we solving mealtime struggles for them? And all sorts of things.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where that's the overarching, to answer my question, because there will be a lot of opportunities that come along the way. People want to do a collaboration, people want to distribute your products and stuff. It could be opportunity, it could be distraction. Yep. And I think it's also deciding, it's making the decisions on what's next, what are some of the safer options that we can explore, as well as how fast we are growing and stuff.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, where am I placing my bet? I mean, the real answer is I'm not sure. We do a lot of calculation. We make sure, like let's say when we enter FairPrice, can we afford to go into so many outlets? What's the cash flow looking like? What's the runway that we have if this is the wrong decision? What's the runway we have? What are some of the alternatives and all that kind of things?
Sometimes all the opportunities that come, they are just opportunity cost to you. If you give up A, then there's the lost opportunity.
Correct.
If you choose B.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. In fact, I always tell my business partner that anything you choose to do, you are also choosing not to do something else.
Right.
Yeah. So because we have very limited time and resources, we need to be very certain that everything that we are doing drives to that very, very, very original goal that we started this. Yeah.
Since you mentioned about your co-founder name is Karina, right?
Yes.
So in this startup that you work with her, are there things that you argue about? What is the conflict that the two of you have? What's the thing that you fight over with the most?
Actually, rarely. We work in very different scope. Karina's side mainly does manufacturing.
Okay.
So my side is very commercial. So we work very closely hand in hand for it to work out. But in terms of our area of expertise is quite different.
So it sounds like there's really a clean cut in the areas that you work with.
Yeah.
She's more on the operational side.
Correct.
And you're on the branding side.
Commercial side, yeah.
Commercial side,
Partnerships,
okay.
brand, selling and all this kind
So
of
you have never had any arguments or conflict before?
Rarely. I mean,
Sounds like the perfect marriage.
we have only been running this for 1 year plus.
Okay.
We rarely have any significant conflict. In fact, the most recent discussion we have is entering FairPrice. Yeah, discussing more like a discussion. It's not really an argument because I was not sure if going into all the outlets was the right decision because it's a lot of visibility and we might never get that opportunity anymore. But we are also spreading ourselves very thin.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but again, my job my job on commercial side is not just selling, because I need to make sure Karina side can support.
Yes.
Yeah, so
That's true.
we need to work hand in hand. And I think from the very beginning, we are always very clear. I mean, this is not both of our first business. So we were very clear that it's not about growing fast, it's growing right, like at the right pace and stuff.
Okay.
And I think that helps. Not being the first business helps, because I think my previous business, I did snacks on my own. We were in FairPrice and Cheers, many outlets. It did stretch me very, very thin. Yeah, because, and I think it helps me understand the product life cycle. There are certain things like in terms of our products, we need to refresh regularly. You cannot always be eating our product have 25 menu right now. You cannot be eating our product, same 25 product the whole year. Yeah, so we need to constantly rotate and stuff, refresh it and everything. So a lot of lessons learned from the previous businesses.
What are some of the more interesting lessons you learned?
Firstly is confidence. We don't have to come off as knowing everything.
Right.
And I think it's perfectly normal for any founder to really just don't know. Because a lot of times when we do certain things, I mean, obviously, if you place your right bet, you do the right thing, and then you success, people will be like, oh, how you do it and stuff. But by and large, we don't really know. We just place a calculated bet. So I have a friend who used to tell me there are two types of founders. There's a poker kind of founder, and then there's a blackjack kind of founder. So one is the kind that you just try if it works, and another is a little bit more calculated.
Okay.
Yeah, but by and large, there are so many uncertainties that we don't know. I think my second lesson is, I remember the first time, it was very hard for me to hire somebody. I don't know how to hire people. I don't know how to manage somebody, and I didn't know how to delegate.
You didn't know how
I didn't know how to delegate.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was used to working. I was used to doing everything by myself. Yeah, that first hire was the most challenging one, because that person is gonna. You need to trust that person, that the person can do their job well, and then you need to guide this person, and this person working in your company is this person's career. Yeah, so I think there's a whole lot of consideration. It's very daunting also. Yeah, so
it sounds like you're worried about for this person whether you can help her to.
A little bit of both, because when you start hiring people, these are people's salary.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just them, it's their families also. Yeah, when certain decisions that we make, it cannot be too risky. And basically the ability to trust somebody to be able to do their job well.
I think one of the comedians, I can't remember his name, he said everybody don't really know what they're doing, and they're just learning as they go along.
Correct.
And that really changed his mindset to really grow in his own career.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's perfectly normal to not know. In fact, it's very authentic to just say that you do not know. And you are able to build a connection, whether it's with your supplier or with your employees. Then you grow together. Let's do something fun now. So I'm going to give you two statements. And you're going to tell me which would you choose and why. Now, would you work 80 hours a week and reach your dream faster, or would you work 40 hours a week but take 10 years longer?
Can I not choose any of it? Can I not choose any of it?
No, you have to choose one. If you had to choose only one, which is the likely path that you would take?
I would think is 40 hours, then 10 years longer.
Why would you choose that?
I think the process of it is part of the experience. The journey is part of the experience. So I think the first one, I don't know what's their dream, what's their goal. That dream and goal has significantly changed when my kids came along. Yeah, so for me now, it's a lot of experiencing them right now. So there is no hard goal that I have in mind at this moment.
Okay.
I mean, without kids, I would probably say certain financial goals and stuff. But I think at this moment is being present.
Okay.
It's being present and experiencing them today, because they will no longer be 1 and 2 years old anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then you only be 1 year old once.
Yes, precisely. So yes.
Okay, let's do another one. Right? How about this? Would you build for investors but compromise your vision? Okay, or would you build for your vision but you struggle to raise money?
I would think build for vision.
Okay.
Yeah. For now. For now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because that would make it difficult for you to raise money.
Yes. So that I understand. In fact, that is what we are doing right now. I think it's because when we do pop-ups, we speak to a lot of mothers. We see our products serving real purpose, real struggles. And we have also seen children that have consumed our products over years. Yeah. So it's like when we see them pop up, they're like, oh, 我孩子吃这个长大的. Like it is different.
Nice.
You know, you're helping a mom out there. Not a mom actually, you're helping a family out there. And I believe the whole intention when we started this, we take out the time, especially for mothers, myself. We spend a lot of time thinking about what to cook, preparing, cooking and washing. By the time you sit down and eat with your child, maybe you left like 15% battery already. And then when your child says she don't want to eat, right, you cannot take it anymore. Yeah. Because you don't have, like, you are so drained from all the prep work that you missed out that the whole point is that mealtime should be enjoyable.
Yes.
And I hope that our products is able to help in that way, whereby you spend less time preparing and more time together and stuff. So that's the primary vision. And I'm not sure how skewed would it be with, like, changes would it be when it comes to when we get investors in how different that direction would change. I think it depends also. I think of course there's some level of compromise I'm willing to take as a founder, but it depends. Yeah.
There's always the middle ground.
Yeah.
You don't want to go too extreme to one side or the other.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, let's do one last one.
Okay.
Would you be ready to get acquired early for 5 million, or would you go for 10 years with a shot at 100 million?
100 million? 100 million? Yeah, I think 5
that
million.
means you're giving up the 5 million straight away, because what you're aiming for is a shot at 100 million.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't think 5 million is difficult to achieve.
Maybe I should change it to a bit more.
I don't think like the 5 to 100 is too big of a difference.
Let's say what about this 20 million?
Sorry, how long to 20 million?
So you get acquired enough for 20 million, or grind
Now
for another.
20 million.
Yeah, now somebody would buy you over for 20 million. It means you can exit for 20 million, or you grind for another 10 years for a shot at 100 million.
Okay, then that would be different, because
Yes.
I can do a lot in 10 years.
It's life-changing
with
money.
It's life-changing money. Like, I can do a lot with 20 million, and that 20 million that I take now, I can potentially grow something else to 100 million in 10 years. Yeah, but 5 million, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 20 million is what you will take now.
Yeah, 20 million maybe. Yes.
Okay. So if you had to start all over again, what would you do differently this time?
I actually wouldn't really change much, because this is my second business. So I took a lot of learnings from it. First of all, when we started this, we were very clear. When we started, it's a lot of proof of concept in the first 6 months. So very minimal investment. We have our products ready. We did our pop-up at Mommy's Market. We invested, I think Mommy's Market was about 10K.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a pop-up there because we needed to speak to mothers. We needed to know what are the type of products that they want. And what are the alternatives that they are using right now that is not good enough for them. Yeah, so it's a lot of that. So in fact, we started with the superfood powders. You know, those kind that you cook, then you supplement the powders. And we actually formulated them that is like high in iron, high in zinc, high in inulin and all that kind of things. But we scrape it off because it was challenging for people because they still need to cook. And then they add the powder on top. So to them, it's an extra step. You're not exactly...
You're not making it easy.
You're not making it easy, yeah. And I think when we design it, in the first place, it's making healthy food for kids and stuff. But as we speak to parents, we realize the real audience that we are supposed to help in terms of the solution are the caregivers. Yeah, kids. We trust that caregivers will prepare healthy food for kids, but we're not helping the caregivers, making it easy to do their job. Yeah, so along the way, we shift from powders to ready meals. Yeah, so in fact, I think we did well in the sense we started lean, we tested the market, we pivoted very early, be very clear of what are the products that will not work and what are some of the products that people want. And when we launched 4 ready meals, we did all 4 porridge. Then we do Mummy's Market again. We realized some people ask for texture. Then we realized we're not exactly catering to babies. A lot of people who need our product are toddlers and like your 4 or 5-year-old kids that they don't really eat as much porridge anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Then we start introducing textured products. And then we had 12 products, I think. Then people were saying, do you have more options? Because I use your food every day, but you know, it's starting to feel repetitive. Then we're like, okay, we need more. So now we have 25. So if you subscribe with us for a month, almost you don't have any repeated meal. We launched new flavors also. Now we are starting to hear our community asking new flavors. Yeah, so we are hoping that every quarter we get to refresh our slower moving products. So I think what we have done in a way, we are very lean. We started with we started 2 founders, 1 warehouse person, and then now we hire a BD and e-coms person. Yeah, so we grew very carefully. In fact, I think with the existing team, we can comfortably stay as it is for another 1 to 2 years, even when we enter retail space, because we're entering with a distributing team. Yeah, so we were quite clear that we don't want to do too many things, and we will let people who are good at what they are doing to do what they are good at doing. So when we enter FairPrice, we are also working with distributor.
If you were to give one advice to your fellow co-founders, what would that one advice be? These are people looking to do their startup, right? What would your advice be to them?
I think be laser focused. Be very, very clear what's the objective, what is it that you are good at doing. For us, we are very clear we are good at brand building, product development, brand building, and we own that. So in terms of manufacturing and distribution and logistics, we get people who are good at what they're doing to do for us. And yeah, I think be laser focused. And for us, is our key channels will always be subscription model. There will be a lot of distractions along the way whereby somebody asks if you want to distribute in 100 outlets here, do you want to go overseas, people want to distribute your product overseas. They are all very sexy, very distracting. But I think be very clear what is it you want to do. Can you afford this distraction? Of course, if you have a lot of money and resources to place different bets, go for it. Yeah, but for a regular startup that's bootstrapped, be laser focused at what you're doing and make sure everything that you do contributes to that primary specialty. For us, it's because it's subscription. Even when we go in FairPrice instead, we see FairPrice as a channel to drive trial, accessibility. And we design our business model in a way whereby our website, we only do subscription. If you don't want to subscribe, which is normal because you may not like the product yet, you want to buy single unit now, you can buy at Songfish, you can buy at Redmart. So Redmart, you have, I think, minimum $60 for free delivery. So if you don't want to incur $60, you can buy at Songfish. But Songfish, it has very limited stores. There are still areas whereby it's still not as accessible, so we wanted to go into your supermarket chain to address that kind of concern. Yeah, so that will be the short term for us. So everything we do is to funnel people back to our website. If you have tried the products, you like it already, you know this is something your kids can eat, you think that this product is beneficial for you, subscribe. Come to our website and subscribe for us.
Okay, that sounds like a very clear-cut, laser-focused strategy that you have.
So far for now. For now. Yeah.